I'm thankful for BEE because I can tell you for free, when I walked into the company, I was like, where are the blacks? And it's not a coincidence that our biggest celebrities who are all about groove culture are best friends with our biggest politicians. Groove culture is one of the core reasons we are in the dwang. Dysfunction feels like freedom until you try and let it go.
Fam, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Pace Car Rental. Use promo code SMWX and make sure you show Pace some love as they're showing this channel some love. Now, let's get into the episode. What does it take to engineer your life? From academic grit to one of the country's fastest growing podcasts, Lungelo KM has become a voice of hope and transformation. His Engineer Your Life show has hosted everyone from Herman Mashaba to Annie Mthembu, sparking conversations that go viral, shift culture, and inspire a generation. In this episode, we dive into his journey from engineering projects to engineering people, unpacking his rise and tackling some of the big questions confronting our country. Lungelo, thank you for joining us on SMWX.
I need your producer. Who writes that? That is impeccable.
Why, thank you, sir.
That is impeccable.
Thank you.
As of the standard of SMWX.
You know
always.
this. You know this. Actually, I wrote it. So
okay.
So.
I'll take that. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you.
Sure.
One of the biggest podcasts in South Africa.
Truly a privilege, yeah?
You had me on your show.
Yeah.
Now we get to invite you onto SMWX. The Engineer Your Life motif and theme, where does that come from and what does it mean?
Sure. I think first and foremost, it as humans, we gravitate towards the closest things around us and what we do. So I'm an engineer by profession, electrical engineer, professionally registered.
Flex.
You know. And engineer your life, engineering primarily on a daily basis is about solving complex problems, bringing solutions, right? And as a person who always had a desire to broadcast, as a person who's been into faith and inspiration at a very young age, ever since I was a teenager. The life of church was something that was very close to me and remains close to who I am now in my 30s. It became almost marrying two worlds that could never be seen to be able to marry, the world of science and the world of creativity. And I was like, I'm well-spoken. Actually tried a course at the SABC in 2008. At the SABC in Durban called Media Concepts. Lovely lady, Kimberly Stock. I don't know if she's still around. Auditioned with her. We went through a whole course for a number of weeks where I auditioned with her and she said, you're first in my class, you're coming to Joburg with me. I've got a TV show for you. I was 13. My mom said, you're not going there. She said, you're not going there. You are going to be an engineer. You said you want to go to George Campbell School of Technology to study engineering, and that's what you're going to be. My child is not going to be on TV at 13. I was hurt, deeply, deeply hurt. And it's a full circle moment just before I turned 28 when I started Engineer Your Life, which was about marrying the two worlds of engineering, solving complex problems, but people's lives. And I thought, which other way than creating a platform through podcasting, because I couldn't broadcast in the traditional sense when I was younger, when I started varsity, because still I'm focused, I'm trying to be an engineer. When I started working, I get into corporate in the private sector. There's no time. In fact, I couldn't even have time to breathe when I was still in the private sector. And how can I bring this back to life now that I'm trying to open up my time more and designing my life in a way where I can actually do this broadcasting thing? And I studied the USA podcasting a lot, bumped into SMWX when it was picking up momentum, bumped into Podcast and Chill. I bumped into Penyo when he was still on the Hustler's Corner. And I said, I'm in Durban. There's not much that we're known for here. We're not respected as broadcasters here, but that's my breeding ground because no one else is doing this here. I can call everybody else that's not getting a moment on camera and they will appreciate to be on camera because nobody else is doing it in this region. And when I tell you, Caesar, for a year and a half while the podcast was still in Durban, I was the only podcast in Durban. And when we moved to Gauteng, that's when the other podcast started. So it was truly just following the calling of wanting to engineer people's lives into positive, inspirational conversations, sometimes touchy subjects that are controversial, but it truly speaks to who I am and wanting to create a platform where people can be truthful in who they are without disrespecting others. I think the ethos of what we do on Engineer Your Life, whether you are considered controversial, whether you're considered an influencer, where some people are like, what can you hear from an influencer? Guess what? There's depth in everyone if you dig deep enough. And we provide a platform where we can dig deep enough from everyone and learn. Yeah.
That story of your mom just wanting the best for you, but also, negotiating what it is that we want to become.
Sure.
Our parents' generation just wanting it to be safe
Yeah.
and secure, whereas we now have the luxury of being able to experiment a bit with what it means to be in a career, to be creative.
Yeah.
And also to hold a professional space as well at the same time.
Sure.
I mean, take us further into that moment of you wanting to, struggling between this tension between engineer, money, security, and then broadcast, creativity, and maybe a little more risk.
I think the struggle, to be honest with you, because I'm a person who's used to be quite rigid, I think I've opened up in the latter part of my life now. I used to be quite rigid in how I think. I was the nerd in school. I was deputy head boy. I was dark scholar. All the A's. I was that guy who thought life was black and white. And in retrospect, that helped me. It might have been problematic in some people's eyes because you become antisocial, you don't become understanding of other people's nuanced experiences and the gray areas of life. But it helped me a lot because I thought all that mattered was school. I thought, okay, since that thing can't happen, and my mom, who's a teacher by profession, said, no child of mine will not have a degree like me. I then realized that, okay, I have to be drilled in that manner. And also, I had to sit there and think, oh my gosh, okay, so my mom is also saying that the only careers that matter are either engineering, medicine, accounting, those careers. So if I focus on this thing, it looks like I'm good at it. If I put in the hours and I study, I'm getting results that are positive, the A's and the A pluses. So let's see how far I can push it. So I say for the longest time in my early 20s, it actually wasn't a wrestle. I just thought, I want a great job. I want to climb the ladder. I'm hearing about people saying, if you have a master's in this thing, I'm like, oh, that's like something that smart people do. And then after achieving everything, you have to face your truth.
There was still that voice.
The voice is there. It comes back, and now it's louder because you have the car, you have the house, you're building, you have the career, you are in a good relationship, but you are achieving in a career, but are you achieving in your calling? Huge difference, a career and a calling. And it then was like, how do I activate my calling again? And a lovely friend of mine, his name is Harrison. He works for 5FM. He was launching a music EP. He was venturing into music. He's a teacher, and then he's a musician, and then he's a radio presenter. But anyway, we're all this mixed bag nowadays. He was launching his EP, and he's like, friend, I need you to help me with marketing. I don't have funds, but you seem to know about this. You just did a marketing degree. I had done my postgrad where that course of the pre-MBA course, the postgrad diploma, and there was a marketing there, and I did well in it. There's a marketing module in there, and I did well in it. It's like, you did something on marketing, you can help me. I was like, come on, it was just one module. But it was good because I then got ignited, and then I said, friend, bring your camera crew that you're shooting with your music video for, and let's do a sit-down conversation. Oh my gosh, I've never felt so alive, Caesar, bro. I felt so alive after shooting that. And I'm like, we just gave birth to Engineer Your Life.
Was that your first?
Not the first one I released, but the first one I shot. So it was easier to use my friend as a guinea pig.
Sure.
He won't laugh at me. He won't be problematic about whatever. I can feel more relaxed having a conversation with a friend. And then after that, I just started calling people whom I've known long in my life. And I was like, what is a podcast and how do I do it? They said you need cameras, you need perhaps a producer. I was like, I don't have the money for that, but I can ask these guys who were shooting your music video, Harrison, to be my camera crew for the beginning of the podcast. And thank you to Kaya Mthethwa, out of not knowing me, who said yes to be my very first guest on the podcast.
Those guests deserve
on 0 subscribers.
Wow.
Zero
Shout
subscribers. I wasn't even on social media before that. I wasn't a social media person. I was so rigid as a person. I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have Facebook. I had Twitter. And I was the person who says all the rubbish on Twitter too. So I've had to clean up.
Yeah. We must see if you tweeted about SMWX back then.
So, and then God bless Kaya Mthethwa, man, for believing in me.
Yeah.
And I remember that episode getting 100 views in the first day. I was
hey, that first 100.
100 people care about what I have to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, it from the 9th of March 2022 till today, I think the only time I've missed an episode was in December for December holidays.
Wow.
We've never missed an episode for over 3 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's real consistency.
Yeah.
People don't sometimes appreciate how much grit is required to start a podcast. It looks like the easiest thing in the world.
Among the hardest things I've ever done.
Same here.
Among the hardest things I've ever done.
And you have an engineering degree.
Right? It is among the hardest things I've ever done. Sure, I thought my master's was hard because I did an MBL. And I know, man, podcasting is hard. Because at least with the degree, there's a time frame, there's a beginning and an end. Here, we are constantly having to reevaluate. It's so dynamic. The internet is constantly changing.
Absolutely.
That every month we have to sit with the team and be like, which direction are we going? Is the direction we thought we were going the right one?
Yeah. The pace of innovation. I look at your episodes today and a month ago and a year ago, and so much has changed.
A lot has changed. So yeah, it's among the one of the most difficult things we've done. Yeah.
What do you think unifies engineering and podcasting?
Solving. You know, podcasting in many formats is a conversation between two people. I know other people will have panels and that, but at most times when you and I are sitting having a conversation, we have to listen to each other. We have to respect each other. We have to give each other room for opposing ideas or ideas that are aligned. And this morning I was in a meeting with a client and we had differing opinions on things. Although it was a Teams meeting, it's pretty much similar to what we do on podcasting.
Sure.
Everybody shares their idea and we have to come to a ground, whether it be a middle ground or my voice is dominating more in that conversation or the other person's voice is dominating more. But in order for us to reach a conclusion after that 1 hour meeting, after that 1 hour podcast conversations, it means there has to be harmony. If there's no harmony in an episode, the audience will see. You will feel it after recording. You will tell Oratile that was rubbish. You know, there always has to be harmony. So that's where the worlds meet, because conversation is really minds meeting for a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And how do you solve in engineering? How is that similar?
Interesting. Engineering projects have 6 stages. It's the universal language. A project has stage 1 in ideation with inception. Stage 1 is ideation, feasibility studies, all the way till we get to a closeout, which is after you've commissioned the project. So with engineering, you have to financially plan for it, look at the economics of the situation, then use the science to now get to solving the problem, prove to yourself before you show your client that this science that I'm using is the correct science. Then you present it to your client and say, this science is the correct science. And then you implement the science, hoping for the best that the science was correct. Because what you calculated, the artisan and the builder and the electrician, they will implement. And if your calculation was wrong from all these other iterations and processes that you did, it'll come to show a few years later or a few months later. And then, oh my gosh, the engineering council will call you and say, you took people's lives because you were careless. So I think those principles in engineering, you have to consistently follow the process. Interesting fact, with my creative team, because obviously the podcast team and the engineering team are completely different entities.
Yeah.
The podcast team always says, my head of content always says, she's a creative at birth. And she always says, you run this podcast like a corporate business. And for me, that's the thing I'm most grateful for you for. And I'm like, why? I'm like, isn't this how people run companies? She's like, I've worked on many productions. You have no idea how efficient you are.
Yeah.
You have no idea how having systems contributes to why the podcast is where it is, because the financial systems in the back end, how we book appointments, how you demand of us to write emails, how you want to see we follow things when you send the script and the and the research. You want everything in a certain manner, which I have figured out that it's because you learned it so much for the 9 years you spent in corporate that no, man, systems are actually things that make results come quicker or more efficiently or more precise,
and more consistent.
Because when you have a system, you get a result that is almost 100% almost all the time.
Yeah. No, that's really fascinating to look at the intersections that you exist within.
Sure.
I mean, you said podcasting is one of the hardest things you've done. Why? Why do you find it, or why does it take so much to do it right? Because everyone wants to start a podcast now.
There's over 1,000 podcasts in South Africa alone. Actually was joking with a friend where I saw another celebrity start a podcast, but let's not go there.
The spices begin.
Why is the most difficult? Because I love it. The podcast, this microphone and this camera is just a medium, like different mediums, to communicate and influence. It's a burden. It's a burden to know that twice a week, every single word I say for an hour will be scrutinized at the deepest level.
And the scrutiny is getting deeper and deeper.
And it's getting deeper and deeper. And at the level we're at now, at just shy away of 170,000 subscribers, you have the loyal base of subscribers, and then you have the watchers who don't subscribe. And within those, there's a bracket of people who are hell-bent in the day you make a mistake.
Absolutely.
And that mistake might not come because of any malice that you have. That mistake might come because Lungelo is not having a good day. And I phrased something incorrectly. I phrased something in a manner that's not politically correct to a marginalized group.
Sure.
To a group that is either marginalized because of historical injustices, to a group that's marginalized because of things that continue perpetuating now. Because the way culture shifts so much, a group that wasn't marginalized, considered marginalized 50 years ago, could be marginalized now. And I'm not educated enough, or haven't educated myself enough on that topic to know that they are now marginalized. And there's a word they prefer to use and not to use. I recently discovered that 25, 30 years ago, the word queer was unacceptable. But now people in the LGBTQI community don't mind being called queer. They actually prefer it. So those things can happen where, because your life, the daily occurrences in your life don't involve certain themes and certain topics, you might speak to a guest who is a politician and you offend their cult. Not because you said anything bad. Not because you said anything bad, but because you actually tried to get information out of them, and the cult sees that politician as God. So they are not allowed to be questioned. And your job as a podcaster, as a broadcaster, you are supposed to get questions and information out of people in a manner that is respectable. But because the cult doesn't like that, all of a sudden, your name, your brand, your reputation is obliterated. And remember, Sizwe, primarily, I always say, God forbid this won't happen. I always say, right now, my economic life, I don't know how to phrase that, maybe my standard of living, if I were to switch off the mic for 6 months and the camera, mine won't change. And it won't change, though, because of how I've presented myself on camera as well. my stakeholders off camera see the same person on camera. So it's not a caricature that I'm putting on.
Sure.
And if I get to a point where popularity, fame, and I have to put on a caricature, I have to start selling myself to deals because I want the podcast to get to a certain level that undermine the bread and butter of a career that I've built in over 11 years, then I've got a problem. Then I've got a huge problem because podcasting is coming for who I am. It's destroying who I am. So that's why I say podcasting has been one of the most difficult things because it's confronted every aspect of my life, including personal relationships. At least you're a married man, so perhaps you can't relate. Podcasting and myself as an unmarried person has meant that I'm having to discover myself, even in friendships and romantic relationships, while accumulating popularity and fame. That's not easy to do.
It really, I didn't think of that because my relationship started well before
Absolutely.
my podcast journey.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that it can be actually quite difficult when you're building this public platform, when you're so regularly in public.
Yeah.
Because like if you're a movie star, like you do one movie and then you
can disappear.
This is twice a week, every
right?
week.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to build a relationship with, and then they see you as a public person, so they know your persona and how you're projected, which you often don't have a lot of control over.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then they're negotiating who you really are, and you are negotiating this at the same time.
Constant negotiation because the Lungelo I was just over a year ago when the podcast was on 15,000 subscribers. I cannot absolutely be that same Lungelo at almost 170,000.
So it's grown 10 times.
Right? There's a new decorum that I have to adopt because there's a level of respect and accountability that I need to have. And as a partner, as a friend who knows me before that or when it was still smaller, now it's weird to you that I'm greeted by 5 people in a 30-minute walk in the mall.
Yeah.
I'm stopped by 5 people, and some of them are rude, actually. They won't acknowledge the person I'm with.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They won't greet.
Sure.
Somebody recently poured me with water.
No ways.
Somebody recently poured me with water out of excitement, and I had to sit there and act like I'm fine with it.
How does that work?
So they're walking with a water bottle.
Okay. Where are we?
We're walking like that in a mall. We're walking like this.
Yeah.
They think they see you because I'm not in this outfit when I'm not on camera.
Yeah.
They think they recognize you.
That thing. Once you see the recognition, you're like,
yeah.
How's this gonna go?
So like, look down, look away because the person comes. Oh my gosh, with the water. It's you. It's Lungelo.
Yeah.
I love this. Oh my gosh. Calls all the other friends. Oh my gosh, let's take a picture. Completely ignores the person I'm with. No greeting. I wasn't even greeting. It was an, oh my gosh. And I must reciprocate the energy. So that's how it affects the real life relationships that we have. Yeah. And the real life relationships are who we are. This podcast is a thing I do, which is a portion of my life, a portion of my existence. But who I am is my God and the people I love. That will always be who I am.
That one really hits home because the most public thing you do is not representative of who you are.
No.
And that's the thing people don't understand. Like, I think people think we are just these podcasts.
You're just a podcast, but you can't blame a person. I guess these conversations are important for us to have. Yeah. You can't blame a person because the only time some people will ever meet me is on camera in this black outfit. Absolutely. Right? That's the only time they'll ever see me.
And they develop such a personal connection with you because you're having personal conversations.
Sure.
They get to know a certain aspect of you regularly. Maybe more than some of their friends, even that they see once a month.
They engage me more than they engage their friend. Because if they're engaging 2 1-hour episodes a week of me, there's a friend they haven't seen or talked to in a month who's a good friend, but they don't engage that much. So just by virtue of how much time they spend with this person who's on camera, perhaps that's where the admiration and the genuine love will come from and excitement when they meet us. Yeah.
Let's talk about the podcast itself.
Yeah.
Engineer Your Life. Let's get to 200,000 subscribers, people.
Please.
Yes, next milestone. We're going.
Yeah.
Growing tenfold within roughly a year is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel now that it's reaching a certain level of critical mass and growth? Some of your episodes have over 1 million, 400,000.
Yeah.
What's that like, and how are you interpreting and embracing that this is now one of the biggest podcasts in the country?
It's personally has been a challenge to my character, in the sense that, as I said, in the relationship that I have in my life, it has challenged how I come across, because I have to constantly remind myself that I'm not those numbers. Bearing in mind that it's not just numbers on a screen, it's human beings, it's people, it's influence, it's impact.
Yeah.
Also, now I'm fully aware, looking at either I go to an event, maybe an award ceremony that we are invited at, or messages that come, so many traditional celebrities message me on Instagram privately,
Really?
not loudly, and saying what you do is incredible. It's one of the best things on the internet right now. How you and your team have built it is one of the best things on the internet right now. Some who are even scared to come on the platform, they will message and say, I'm scared to podcast because podcasting has a veil over it for some people, their understanding of it, but don't stop what you're doing.
That's
Celebrities with millions of followers who I've never met, who I've never thought I'd engage with, but the podcast has opened me up to those platforms. I'm not a very social person, but once in a while when we attend an industry event, you're like, why do all you guys know me? I just live in my little studio in Joburg, and we shoot with my little crew, and you guys are really saying this is how much impact I have. You guys are telling me that you are writing articles in traditional media about the content that I do, and you reference me and you put links to my work. But I grew up watching you guys. I grew up thinking you're an incredible journalist. All my life, I've respected you as a musician. I mean, I've been privileged to have so many superstars on my podcast and get into depth with their stories. So it's kind of weird, because now that I sit with these people, the viewer wants to position me like a celebrity. And I'm like, but I facilitate conversations with them. I'm not that person. So it's a constant reminder of myself. And here's my team as well saying, no, you're a brand. I'm like, no, I'm Lungelo. How do those worlds meet? So right now we're in a space where we're still sticking to our plan, just growing the podcast, growing the reach, growing the influence, because primarily the influence is about conversations that change lives. See, where more than anything, I can mention celebrities, I can mention many things, but the emails, the DMs I get of people saying, when you spoke to Mthembu and she said, she finally admitted that her life is not perfect. It shifted something in my marriage. I was able to face something with my husband, and we had a conversation for the first time in 6 months where we weren't sleeping in the same bed. And I realized that his concerns about me were valid. Yes, my husband might have cheated 3 years ago, but I said I forgive him. And I stayed in this marriage. And you guys addressed that in that podcast. So actually, I'm wrong now, because I'm still angry at him and being toxic towards him after I said I forgive him. He's tried everything in his power to say I'm sorry, but I'm still being toxic towards him and treating him bad and giving him silent treatment. And your podcast made me talk to him again for the first time in 6 months. Those are the things that matter. Truly, those are the things that matter. I don't know about you. How often do you have... perhaps because your podcast is different, mine is very about heartfelt, vulnerable conversations. How often do you have a conversation with a guest and they're speaking, addressing something, and I'm going through it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't say it.
Yeah.
I can't express it on this platform. I can't be as vulnerable, but I'm going through that exact issue. And right now, guest, you are counseling me.
Absolutely.
You're busy giving me perspective on a decision I need to make in my life. I go through with that so many times.
Wow. That's quite something. And at the same time, also the audience is getting some form of processing.
Yes,
they listen vicariously to this experience that could be related
Sure.
to theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also just so unpredictable when you're interviewing famous people. Do you have some moments? You don't necessarily have to mention it.
Sure.
What were some of the surprising moments behind the scenes of engineering your life where you were just like, wow, I didn't expect that, or did that really happen?
Yeah.
Like let's
I've had a guest stop 10 minutes in. We were speaking about their marriage. I asked the question. They stopped and they said, no ways. Because they started crying. We had to wait 30 minutes for the makeup artist to be Ubered back in to fix the makeup.
Wow.
In that 30 minutes, I'm having to say to the guest, your marriage is a pivotal story of what you're known for. And you are now saying, I've changed my mind. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We can't have this podcast then. And I had to convince the guest that we have to have the podcast. We have to continue with the conversation, but I'll just angle it differently because perhaps you were shocked by the question, how it was asked so early in the conversation. Something that people don't know, the people who open podcasts every other week, is that angling a conversation is everything. It is everything. You can't ask a sensitive question at 10 minutes in sometimes. Sometimes you have to leave it for 20 minutes in. But sometimes you have to do it at minute 2 because you have to engage people and grab them in. And all of that takes the experience that we've built over time. Lebo Keswa, the breakthrough episode for us.
Over 1 million
easily,
right now, right?
Over 1 million. The breakthrough episode for us, I had no idea that's what she wanted to do. I had no idea. I asked her one question and she spoke for 50 something minutes alone.
No ways.
With me saying, whoa.
Which people don't understand is a very important thing to be doing.
Absolutely.
But carry on.
Yes. Yes. Acknowledging that what you're saying, I'm either hearing or I'm processing it. But because of experience, once again, I knew that this is television gold. I am not going to stop her with my rubbish questions.
Masterstroke.
I'm not going to stop her with my rubbish questions because every question I've had in mind, she's been answering it so far in how she's relaying it.
Wow.
So I'm just trusting her to keep on answering more and more and more. And she kept on giving me more and more and more, being more graphic, more intentional, more real, more authentic in how she was delivering everything. So that moment as well, when we finished recording, I said to the team, a shift is about to happen.
You knew it.
And the team was like, They knew it was a big episode, but they didn't realize the shift that was about to happen. And I remember it was in September last year, the week before my birthday, same week as this. And I said, bye, I'm going away on holiday with my friends. And I remember we launched that episode and within 12 hours it was on 100K. We had never done such numbers. Wow. And I was like, let me enjoy nice now. And the internet was burning.
I recall.
Internet was burning. Not burning from what we had done maybe on our short clips, but it just burned organically on its own. Newspaper articles, everything.
Clips
galore. And you know what I was thinking after I came back? I was like, I'm actually waiting for Latoya McKenna to sue me.
Wow, is that so?
Yeah, because Lebo was very graphic in how she explained things. And in that graphicness, some people take offense personally and thinking, as the podcaster, you were attacking them personally.
Latoya was her then partner.
Yes, then ex-wife.
Sure.
And they would think you maybe were in cahoots to enable an environment to speak about this person. But you are a media platform. Absolutely. That's all you are. You are, as a podcast, even for your viewers, Sizwe, we are a media platform. When you are watching the SABC, Newsroom Africa, you don't ask who's the CEO and can I call them and can I find them? But because we are the anchors and the owners of the platforms, it seems to be easy for people to want to sue us and threaten with suing us.
It's very true. It seems to be becoming, as our platforms rise and as podcast platforms rise, the powerful are now starting to realize that is a way to try and
silence.
I think so.
silence.
There may be legitimate cases, and that's fine. But I think there are also other times where it's just an attempt to scare.
Have you received letters?
I haven't, but I've studied law.
How have you not? I've received.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
It's not over yet, by the way.
Really?
First time saying this ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is...
I'm in a thing.
Sure.
I have an advocate and everything. I'm in a thing.
Hey.
Because of an episode.
Advocates and all.
Advocates and all. And
Whoa.
to maintain the ethos of what Engineer Your Life stands for, I'd never made it a content piece.
Yeah.
It's been months of that thing going on. I've never made it a content piece. I've never spoken about it. It's okay. It's a SMWX exclusive. Yeah, we're in a legal thing, with a guest who felt a certain type, not a guest, a person a guest spoke about who felt a certain type of way. And the platform, because as I'm saying, we're platforms that the owner is the presenter. So people think, yeah, if I sue him, I can, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really tough to deal with, because the reason your platform is doing so well is precisely because you're able to bring out an authentic side of people that people have never seen.
Yes.
Now, if you start to try and play it safe, it's not going to feel like the same platform. So you're duty bound to your audience, to yourself, to keep those conversations going. When
it's been a learning moment. It's been a learning moment. Because I've had to have those conversations with myself and the team that these court papers mean this and this and this and this for the economic side of the platform and its running and its existence. So when we are vetting guests, this is what we must check. Two, also understanding that we're now a voice, a huge voice. And if we are going to go the route of filtering ourselves, we stop being a voice. So maybe we should have a legal savings.
Absolutely.
Something to think of as these media houses that started small, from my garden in Durban in 2022 to what it is now, a national platform that's consistently in the top 5 every single week, is that maybe like any company, we just have funds that are reserved for people who feel some type of way, even if how they feel is illegitimate and doesn't stand any water.
Absolutely. And you know, I don't know the case, and I'm glad that you've been sensitive with the way you've brought it across. But the thing is that litigation can be used as a tool of suppression, even if you lose.
Correct.
And so it is important to protect ourselves from that perspective, because it's not always necessarily about being vindicated in court. It's just about putting that person through that whole process, even if you win at the end.
Sure.
Litigation insurance.
For podcasts.
Special podcasts.
Someone, please create a broker.
Insurers.
Please give us insurance brokers somewhere.
But thank you for sharing that. And I hope it gets resolved swiftly. And
thanks, man. No, it shall be.
It's a lot of pressure, and there you are. You have to turn up for the audience. You have to do the next episode, and you can't say, hey, by the way, these things that I'm putting everything of myself into to bring to you are now putting me in this stressful situation.
A stressful situation that so unnecessary, because we're the media. Absolutely. We disseminate information in a responsible manner. But as you're saying, there are people out there, just because they have the means, they will want to take you through the process. The end result, we don't know if they care about it as much, but they know that the process is tedious. The litigation process is tedious. You're fully aware of it. So they just know that let's take these people through this.
Stay strong. Stay strong.
Have to, bro.
Absolutely. Other surprising moments. What would you say has been the interview where you felt like you were at your best, or you felt like, I feel like I'm starting to master this craft of interviewing?
There's a lady who does a show on Moja Love. Sihle Sibisi. She's also an activist. A clip of hers was trending. I think you guys had it in one of your analysis videos of the convention, the national convention.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She's from an organization, I think it's called Kwanele Foundation.
Yes.
The lady, she had the braids.
She was talking about bodyguards and that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sihle Sibisi came on my show and I thought I'm just interviewing an activist.
Yeah.
And the conversation shifted when I sensed her heart. First 10 minutes in, she spoke about losing her 9 or 10-year-old daughter to a brain aneurysm. Oof. That's when the brain explodes within, cells within the brain explode, and instantly you lose your mind. And she started going deep about her grief. She started going deep about the life of the church because she was part of the TB Joshua Church for many, many years. And that entire conversation ended up being about her grief and her daughter and how everything happened. And I realized there that, no, man, this is a calling for me because this woman actually came here to cry. It's a therapy session. She came here to cry, and everything I thought I'm going to direct this conversation with, I've thrown out the window. That's when I realized that this is beyond me, because how many young mothers have lost children under the age of 10 and they don't feel like they have a community? How many mothers have had to bury their children and they don't feel like they have a community? There's something called a brain aneurysm that I had not known about before that day. I've just learned about it and I've just educated, I think that episode is on over 200,000 people about it now. Even in the short clips, they are over like 3 million on TikTok. I've educated over 3 million people about this topic right now that is probably not getting any attention anywhere. There is a Mbali from Soshanguve whose child has a brain aneurysm. It's just that it hasn't maybe gotten to being fatal. And then there's not enough healthcare in the country and enough research for her to deal with it. And right now she's seeing somebody she considers a celebrity who has lost a child to it. Perhaps there's some solace she can gain from that conversation.
Yeah.
So such moments are among the best conversations I've had on the show because I realized that, no, man, I'm operating in a calling here. I'm operating in a calling, and perhaps because it's a calling, that's why God keeps making it bigger. Because no matter how many times, Sizwe, we can study the algorithm, we can do the research and think we're amazing. Sometimes when it's not your season, it isn't.
Yeah.
And things don't work out.
Absolutely.
The influence doesn't come. The power doesn't come. And I think the God we pray to will not give influence to people who don't know how to handle it. Will not give power to people who don't know how to handle it. And I also feel like when you stop knowing how to handle it, it will be taken away.
You know, one of the things I find interesting about Engineer Your Life is that we're a country where trauma is always just below the surface of everyday conversation. People have been through some of the most unimaginable things, or they're going through some of the most unimaginable things. And there are so few places in our country where in public we can talk about that trauma.
Sure.
Partly, I think that's why we had a national dialogue, because we just all wanted to come together and just say,
and vent.
Yeah, exactly, as one.
Yeah.
You know, and mainstream media has become so structured, and you know, you're talking about your trauma and then hold on, let's go to an ad break.
Yes.
And then, okay, come back. Can we get back to the trauma? And it's like, okay, time is up.
Sure.
And I think part of the reason why Engineer Your Life is tapping into the root of something in our country is because it's becoming a place, with all our imperfections, where those traumatic public conversations can happen.
Sure.
And that's profoundly important, because they may not happen perfectly. They may happen in messy ways often, but they are happening and they're reflecting society back. So I think that's quite important, because your conversations have a way of dealing with what people are really going through and suppressing, trying to hide, maybe scared of. But then as the conversation goes, it comes out and the public gets to access it.
I love what you said there, that they can be messy, you know. I've bumped into a few comments where somebody said, why is it that the guests who come on your show, the ones who do divulge their marriages, it's because they are either in a divorce or the marriage has ended? And why don't you ever give us people who are in happy marriages? People in happy marriages don't want to talk about it.
They're fine.
They're fine.
Yeah.
People in happy marriages are successful. What do you learn from success? Isn't it that old tale that the best teacher is failure? So we do have conversations with very happily married people. You were one of them.
Yeah, sure.
And we spoke about it.
Yeah.
But there's no happily married person who actually goes on camera and says, me and my wife are actually currently fighting. They don't.
And
right?
that also doesn't trend, by the way.
And it also doesn't
didn't
trend.
see that clip either.
It also didn't trend, right? So actually, what we are showing you is the parts of you and your immediate people that you're scared to touch into, because the stats say in the first 4 years, 70% of marriages end. So if 70% of marriages are ending in the first 4 years, am I incorrect if 4 out of 10 of my guests are in failed marriages? Or if 7 out of 10 are in failed marriages? Because it's a reflection of we have an issue that we're avoiding to talk about.
Yeah.
And those guests are going to tell you that mine failed because I was toxic in how I talk. Mine failed because I was projecting what my father did to me in my marriage. Mine failed because there was infidelity. Also a topic that you guys are so scared to talk about, but the stats are saying otherwise about our behaviors as human beings, right?
Sure.
So mine failed because we were misaligned with our religion. Why are you scared to say those things? Do you only want us to post a 2-minute or 30-second reel of you in a white dress on Instagram and that going viral, and we're saying that's a happy marriage? That does not culminate a happy marriage.
Yeah,
that's a happy wedding day.
And what's so interesting about the show and the podcast is that social media is usually the opposite.
Yes.
Social media is that perfect projection that you want everyone to see.
Yes.
And this is a corner of the internet where you can go and listen to emotional failure. People actually saying, you know what, I messed up.
Yes.
And this is how I messed up.
Yes.
And that's a useful antidote to this culture which we live in,
Sure.
where we have, on the one hand, a failing economy and a failing society, but everyone acting like they are balling and living their best lives.
Right? Absolutely. Long format has made an Mthembu, one of my recent guests, who was
Another
on
massive episode,
who was on a show that is about opulence.
Yeah.
The Real Housewives of Durban, where the clickbait moments, the lifestyle they have to show on Instagram. I'm even certain it's probably part of their contract that you can't show poor things on your life, because opulence. Everybody wants to show themselves as wearing designer. Everybody wants to show themselves as living a certain life. And here the antidote of engineer your life. And he says, me and my husband lost everything. We used to live in a 15 million rand house along the coast in Umhlanga, in a well-secured security estate with animals running in the yard, in the forest there, playing golf. We used to own clubs. Yeah. And I'm telling you that it all fell apart. And after it all fell apart, I've risen again. My kids are in private school still. I've reconnected with my family. I found myself again because I used to make my husband God. So my spirituality is aligned again. And you realize that, wait a minute, there's realness to these people.
Absolutely.
And before the type of platforms we had, the only time you'd see a celebrity is in a radio interview telling you about the song they are releasing. Is in a TV interview when they're showing you their house on top billing. All those things are not wrong, but there wasn't this side of it.
Yeah. What did you make of her ex-husband, I believe now, responding to that interview and actually apologizing?
In the comment section. Funny, I don't know if Annie knows this. The husband approached me first to come onto the platform.
Is that so?
But because we understand algorithms and how the internet works, another platform posted him like a few days before we were meant to record with him.
Sure.
So we then took a decision as the platform that the story is the same. There's no need to rehash it. Yes, we don't communicate stories the same. We're not the same podcasters.
Sure.
But for me, what he opted to divulge there was fine. And I had had Annie while she was on Housewives on my show 2 years earlier. So it was like, actually, I'd want to have Annie, the other side of the story. And once again, when you're operating in your calling, 2 months later, Annie calls me because she's had my number from back then.
Yeah.
She calls me. She said, for the longest time, I thought silence makes things go away, makes pain go away, makes situations fix themselves. But I'm realizing that women are silenced. I'm not silent. We've been silenced because we're not allowed to make mistakes and have our marriages fall apart. And I need to take back my power. And Lungelo, because of the conversation we've had in the past and what you've been doing for other people on your platform, you're the only platform I trust with the sensitivity of the story to be able to relay it. So even when he responded on Instagram as well in one of the clips, taking accountability, it was beautiful that in which world have you seen celebrities saying, I'm sorry to each other on interviews, on platforms that reach millions and hundreds of thousands, and it ends absolutely amicably after that? There was no fight between them. Everybody just said, I know what I did wrong and I'm sorry. And they even said to the audience that has been following us, we are now showing you that there's reality beyond the cameras.
How do you feel about the state of the country? And bear in mind, I'm not necessarily asking you to, talk about people or parties, which you also feel more than welcome to.
Yeah.
But as a South African, as a fascinating South African engineer on the one hand, one of the biggest podcasts in the country, you get to see a side of our country that many don't see.
Yeah.
Where do you feel we are right now, and what are your reflections on the state of South Africa?
I'd like to layer this by saying I come from privilege and non-privilege. Grew up in the township of Umlazi, so I have the experience of township kids who are under the scourge of drugs, alcoholism, gambling nowadays, because I find it to be in the same level of things. And I lived within that. And because I had this mother who was pushing me, that was the little privilege that I had. She was educated. She was saying, though we live here, we are not going to define ourselves through the scourges and the social ills of this community. So I got to live a privileged and non-privileged life at the same time. I got to varsity under a bursary because I did well in high school. So privilege and non-privilege at the same time. And I always say, I went to varsity 2012, 2013, that time for undergrad. So for me, it was in the time where companies needed to demonstrate their BEE scores to get things across the line.
Sure.
The Jacob Zuma years, where a good BEE score mattered and it got you deals, right? So I'm thankful for BEE because I can tell you for free, when I walked into the company, I was like, where are the blacks?
And that's a familiar story.
I was like, where are the blacks? So as much as I'm here out of merit, but I'm also here because I'm black. And I'm here because I'm black because there was legislation that allowed me to have a fair chance in the workplace. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have this bursary. So the state of the country now, I'm reflective in saying that it's so sad that the BEEs, the economic redress, the funding available for us young black people to stand a chance, to even stand a chance and have our voice being heard, is now being weaponized against us. We are being told that, you guys have been crying long enough. You've had enough time to fix your life. You black, enough now, we know. And the GNU is a reminder that our blackness is no longer valid. Let's go back to acting like we are Rainbow Nation. The perpetuating of the redress the intentionality of fixing things for marginalized black communities. We're tired of that. Get over it. Let's move on. And so many people in the GNU are boldly actually saying that. Now they're not. It used to be embarrassing in those corners by racists to say, black. No, it's not embarrassing anymore to be boldly saying, I'm problematic things. Pro genocide that doesn't exist, white genocide that doesn't exist. It does not exist. But now people can be pro that, and they find a community, and after finding community, misery loves company. They then feel good together about lying and lying and lying on us to such a point that we now have tariffs imposed on us because people freely lied about us and got away with it. But our leaders too, the black leaders who are the custodians of liberating us, black people, liberating queer people, liberating children and women from human trafficking, from drugs, from alcoholism. No, they keep allowing legislature that enables it. They keep enabling it because it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that our biggest celebrities who are all about groove culture are best friends with our biggest politicians. It's because they think the same way. Alcoholism for them is the most important thing. Unfortunately, our politicians are legislating the gambling. It's the same politicians who are supposed to be the custodians of building the youth and bringing jobs. There are many weird decisions that we see where government officials, either in their personal capacity in their private lives or using government departments, are funding things that are directly destroying the brain capacity of the youth. Consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for a society that's already so divided and so unequal.
Sure.
For these things that now exacerbate those social tensions.
Yeah.
It's like you're pouring extra gasoline onto the fire.
Brenda Ngoli, actress, there's a video of hers that always comes in trends. I can't remember it correctly, but she always says, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you which means you are drunk. Then youth, when will you ever get time to think? Because you are chemically imbalanced for 5 days a week. From Thursday, Friday, Saturday, till Monday. Because literally that's the calendar of groove culture in South Africa. And geez, people might not like this because I'm young as well, but groove culture is one of the core reasons we are in the dwang. You know? Because people always say, no, I have my drinking under control. They don't. They don't. They just don't. You know, in all the work that I do, where I'm privileged to hire people, there's no legislation against this. It's not a labor law issue. But if I look through your social media and I have the position to give you an opportunity and I see a lot of grooving, I'm reluctant. That's just me. Because I know that your focus, even in situations that require your full attention, we could be in a shoot in New York because the podcast has grown so big and we're in New York. And you'll be like, I cannot not go to the club the day before. Now your productivity is limited. Now the script you are giving me for my interview is shady because you slept at 4 a.m. and then you woke up at 7 to do the script that's due at 9. Because so much of your life is around entertainment. When are you getting time to think? I'm not saying don't be entertained. Don't live. Don't explore life.
Not even don't groove.
Not even don't groove.
Sure.
But why has it become such a pivotal part of who we are? In fact, all the conversations I've had with my guests who've gone through marriage situations is because their partners groove so much that in groove, there's the culture of infidelity, there's the culture of narcotics, there's the culture of disrespect, there's coming back at 3 a.m. Friday to Monday. Which marriage survives people who come back at 3 a.m. every day?
That is a theme that I was noticing in so many of your, especially marriage conversations.
Sure.
Like the way alcohol has played this role to fuel the toxicity.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking just like, again, of this this trauma that lies just beneath the surface of our society, and how alcohol has a social history in South Africa, and how it has been weaponized against Black South Africans.
Women now? More.
Women, absolutely.
Yeah.
For many generations.
Sure.
And on the one hand, it's seen as a symbol of freedom, and there can be ways to explore freedom, in that way. But then people use that idea of freedom and think that they're free. Meanwhile, the cycle is being perpetuated.
Dysfunction feels like freedom until you try and let it go.
Dysfunction feels like freedom.
Yeah.
Until you try to, and so that moment when you let it go, you start to realize that I was actually imprisoned. I wasn't free.
I was imprisoned. I got the right to live how I want to live, but I was an alcoholic. Yes, I'm an advocate, but I've lost all respect in society because now my face looks like alcohol. Now my marriage has fallen apart because of alcohol. Now my kids don't respect me because I drive with a beer in the car. And that's the parenting they are receiving from me. At 4 years old, my son is seeing a beer in the car while I'm driving. And that's what I'm demonstrating to him as that's how you act as an adult in a vehicle. While the highest cause of deaths on the road is because people are drunk and driving. You're dysfunctional, but you feel like you're free because I can now drink alcohol that's 3,000 Rand for one bottle. I can afford alcohol I couldn't afford before. You're dysfunctional. You feel free. I can use 30,000 Rand at a club in 30 minutes every weekend because the work that I do, I'm making 500,000 every month. So what's a little 50K on my entertainment budget? Alcohol and groove is not the only form of entertainment that can make you feel liberated as a human being.
Absolutely.
So you think you're liberated, but you're in chains.
You know what's so fascinating right now about our country is the way that groove culture, but also drug culture and politics, as you said, with Mkhwanazi's revelations, we've started to see, it turns out these two things are not as far apart as they look. And some of the politicians or people benefiting from tenders also have fingers in this
underworld. Yeah.
And so suddenly this year we've started to have the veil lifted on the way that these two cultures are actually combined in South Africa.
Sure. To an extent now, if you look at that Zanzu case matter, where is it? Where did it go? Who was involved? Was there no people going to court at some point and then that shows you that politics and groove are so married. Politics and that underworld, that culture are so married.
And the marriage is dysfunctional.
They're actually divorced and they just don't know, or they're separated. What is it called when people are estranged? They're estranged and they have no idea because they're so toxic. They don't even know if there's still hope.
Well, there is still some hope because I feel like a new industry is being born as we speak.
What's the industry?
It's our industry. I don't know what it's called.
It's
not just, like it's on the surface, it looks like podcasting, but there are sub-industries.
It's independence.
Yeah. It is freedom.
Yeah.
It is freedom of speech, but it is also young, creative people also bringing business acumen and creating forms of employment and entertainment and information that is helping people, and I think that's to be celebrated. There are a lot of great things. I don't often say this. There are a lot of great things about our country that allow what we are doing to be done.
Absolutely.
Which couldn't be done anywhere
else.
Yeah.
That's the freedom part now in a positive manner. Yeah. Where now we're exercising our freedom responsibly by having these platforms that create employment. Almost all my team members on the podcast are people who went to after graduated and were sitting at home when I found them. And now today, I'm like, don't you want to go back into looking for a job at channel so-and-so? They're like, no, I love this.
Yeah.
This is so freeing. There's so creative freedom here.
Yeah.
There's hardly any bureaucracy here. There's hardly any red tape. So working in this baby and growing it to what it is now has been so freeing and liberating to the extent that colleagues of my production team who are in production with traditional people envy them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, you have such a nice job.
Sure.
You have such a nice job. There's no drama. There's no crazy hierarchies.
Yeah.
There's no working hours of, I've heard people be on set 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. You know, how our podcasts are designed sees where you can close out a day now and not record again for the whole week. But you've recorded 3 or 4 episodes this day, right? And then the rest of your team members can have their lives back in that interim period where you are not recording. So we've brought our youth and our creativity into this space, which is an economy. And we've even applying our youth in that because we're saying it doesn't have to be a job that makes you feel like you're losing your mind. You could still work and earn a decent living and not feel like it's a concentration camp, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is he right, guys? Are you all very happy? Do you have lives? No, absolutely. Hey, Lungelo, it's been an honor and a pleasure, brother. And I really hope that your platform continues to grow from strength to strength.
Yeah.
And you continue to find fascinating intersections between engineering and influence.
I've got a question for you before we close.
You can see this person just does interviews, has been doing interviews twice a week for however long.
Yeah.
By all means, this is a conversation.
Sure. What would make you stop podcasting?
Whew. There are... So I think one of them would just be life pulling me in a different direction. Like if I wanted to practice law, for example.
Sure.
Which is one of the dreams I harbor, but we often harbor contradictory dreams.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe an opportunity coming up in life that I wanted to explore. Yeah, or just, I don't know, some kind of, I don't know. I often wonder, like, how can we be in the space of freedom for this long, and how much longer is it going to last?
Sure.
Someone smart enough figures out how much influence there is and tries to control it or shut it down.
Sure.
So I guess something like that would probably stop it.
I think we must enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
We've seen it in music. We've seen it in TV presenting. We've seen it in radio, where you are flavor of the month.
Yeah.
Flavor of the year.
Sure.
Flavor of the decade. Definitely we are flavor of the year.
That's fair to say.
We are flavor of the year, but we mustn't let it get to our head. And it's okay when we're no longer the flavor. Yeah.
What would make you stop?
As we said, that it's okay to pivot. Just because I love it now doesn't mean at 42 I'm holding myself to the standard that I must still love it as much as I do.
Yeah.
If my life moves in a direction that is healthy for me, that this no longer serves it, we're shutting the mic.
The mic is still on for me.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you so much for making
Thank you,
time.
brother. Yeah, it's been a privilege.
Like, share, subscribe. Let's take Engineer Your Life to 200,000 subscribers. But when they reach SMWX, stop subscribing. And make sure you check out Engineer Your Life on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. And of course, thank you so much for the subscriptions. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments down below. Share this with someone who you believe needs to hear what Lungelo has been saying. And catch you on the next episode of SMWX. Bye.
Cheers.